This episode of the Blerd Mob contains explicit language. While we want everyone to enjoy the show, sometimes we may say things that are not appropriate for all ages. So, in other words, Mom, Dad, Granny, we cussing. Discretion is advised.
King G, Grow Site, ENT. Rock with it, rock with it, rock with it, rock with it. Let me pop my shit. Let me pop my shit. Hands up.
What's up, y'all, and welcome to the Blerd Mob, your hub for all things black and nerdy. I am your host, Phθp. If you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or any other streaming service, make sure you hit that follow button so you can get more updates from the mob. We are entering part 2 of our Spider-Man No Way Home movie review. So we got Ace and McMillian from Gurren Otaku Council, and we have Ralph. So if you have not listened to part 1, make sure you check it out. Part 2 is completely spoilers. So if you have not seen Spider-Man No Way Home, please come back later after you've seen the movie. If you would like a non-spoiler critique of the movie before you go see it, please check out part 1. But other than that, let's get into it. So part 2, we're about to dissect these end credit scenes, and we're going to discuss some theories. And if you listen to part 1, Ralph had a hot take on if this movie was better than Endgame. So we're going to get into that. So end credit scenes, we're going to start with the first one, which is Sony's Venom. What has he been doing since he's been in the MCU universe? For those who have seen Venom 2, you know that the end credit scene of Venom basically snatched this Venom up and threw him in the MCU, where he sees Tom Holland. This is just touching back on what he's been doing after that time. And I found it funny that he had the guy in Mexico explaining all the Avengers to him, and he was like, yeah, I think they were talking about Hulk, and he was like, so this big green guy, or whatever, he's taking notes, or whatever, but he gets taken back to his universe, and a piece of symbiote is left, which teases that there's going to be a Venom in the MCU. It's just not going to be that Venom. Yeah. So, my question is, at this point, are they going to make a MCU version of Eddie Brock, or is this symbiote going to go after Tom Holland's Spider-Man?
Well, I think based on the end credit scene of Let There Be Carnage, that it's going to probably go after Tom, because Venom was very interested in Tom Holland in the first place. Like, he didn't even know he was, and then he sees him appear on the TV screen, he licks the TV screen. And we also know that, like, just from like a past experience with the other Spider-Man movies, or if you have any knowledge on the comics, Venom and Peter Parker normally have a first interaction before Eddie Brock even shows up. So I think, especially with the state that we're leaving Peter in this movie, where he's still reeling with the loss of everything that's happened from this movie, and he's not in the best place of his life, that he is a prime subject for Venom to help him unleash some of that pent-up aggression that he probably has still left in him. So I still think it's probably going to go after Tom Holland as well.
I can see that, 100%. But y'all ready for this, though?
Give it to us, Ace.
I guess so.
Y'all ready?
You got a choice.
Some may call me crazy for this. And you might be right, but it's okay. So let's get into it. The Black Spider-Man theory. So, as we all know, Tom Holland does not want to play Spider-Man forever. Eventually, he wants to, go do other things, whatever that may be. But he doesn't want to play Spider-Man forever. He even mentioned that it would be nice to see Miles Morales on the big screen one day. Okay, so we got that. Rewind back now to the movie. We get a Miles Morales hint, if you will, with Jamie Foxx, and how he was mentioning that there's got to be a Black Spider-Man somewhere out there. Okay, so we're going to fast forward a little bit now back to the end credit scene. Okay.
You got me traveling in a lot of places, Ace.
Yeah, I'm getting tired.
I feel you.
I ain't got the
We
same wind I got
fast forward back to the
anymore.
end credit scenes. So as we all know that there's gonna be Venom in the MCU now, but it's not gonna be Eddie's Brock Venom anymore. It's just gonna be who knows who's gonna be. So now, right now, the question is, who's gonna be the Venom? My answer is Miles Morales, the Black Spider-Man, played by the Black Spider-Man.
Huh.
That's interesting.
That's very interesting. Except how will?
Why? I want to. What is your
reason
thought?
why
What is
I'm
your
also
thought
bringing that
process
up-
that the symbiote is going to go after Miles?
It's not necessarily that he's gonna. I don't think he's necessarily gonna go after Miles. It may just be some kind of like chance encounter thing. But the reason I also said it is because it just, in my mind, it sounds like something that Hollywood would do. Like, why not make Venom a black guy this time? You know, just to change things up.
I mean,
if you will.
That'd be interesting because, as far as I know, in the comic books I've read for Miles, he's never had his encounter with Venom because the universe he was in, they got rid of their Venom or whatever previously, and so he's never been taken over by the symbiote. As far as my knowledge is, maybe there's a small
correct. And then I was also thinking,
so that'd be an interesting
if they do
twist.
bring Miles Morales to the big screen one day, it's either going to be one or two things. It's going to be Miles Morales in a completely separate universe, or somehow they're going to integrate him.
I mean,
So
he's in this universe.
Yeah. So,
correct.
If you remember,
and then on top of that, yeah, like you said earlier, the lady that he saved on the bridge, that Tom saved on the bridge, there's been rumors and stuff like it going around that was Tom's, that was Miles' mother or something like that. Some type of relative to Miles. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it's been theories and stuff going around about that. I'll have to find it and show it to you after this.
Yeah, I was about to say because his mom's a nurse or
right?
a doctor.
Yeah, she's a nurse.
Yeah, but I said maybe not necessarily his mom, but it was somebody related to him.
Yeah, because
I have to go back and find.
Well, I mean, we know he's in this universe because Donald Glover was in the first one and he was playing his uncle.
Mm-hmm.
He was playing Aaron Davis.
I don't know, Ace. You kind of went left field with that one.
I mean,
yeah,
hey,
you kind of
like
lost
I said,
me.
some might call me crazy for this.
I mean,
one, but
the Venom thing. I'm honestly very interested to see if that could be the possibility. Because my only thing is, I wonder what reason would he have been
to be attracted to Miles.
Yeah, and also by that point, would he have been bitten by the spider that Miles gets bit by, or something like that, or would this have been the predate? Would this be the thing that leads up to Miles getting bitten? I guess I don't know, but it's interesting. I don't necessarily think it couldn't happen. I definitely feel like it's something that they would play around the idea with, but I wonder how
would they execute that for it that it makes sense. Like because as McMillian said, Venom has personally shown interest in Tom Holland's Spider-Man. So if that does happen, how do they go about him switching his interest from just being so fixated on Tom Holland's Spider-Man and he fuses with Miles instead?
Correct. Like, I mean, think about like how Spider-Man 3 plays out. You know, when we first see Venom, he goes after Tobey Maguire, but things doesn't work out. And what did he do after that? He went and found a new host. So it also could have been something like that as well. After he eventually does find and get to Tom, but we go through the movie or whatever, and Tom ends up, breaking away from the symbiote finally. If he doesn't destroy the symbiote, he's going to just go somewhere else.
Right.
That's true. I guess
not to cut you off.
I was just going to say my other question is, how the hell is the symbiote going to get to New York?
It's in Mexico? I don't know. I hope it's not the same way it did in Sony.
It's this little piece of symbiote.
I mean, we saw how the first symbiote traveled in Venom 1.
And I said, I hope it's not the same way.
We dropping bodies till we get to Tom Holland.
We already seen how he could get there from the previous Venom, so it's not impossible at all.
My only thing is it's interesting because they haven't introduced Eddie at all yet. I mean, they could bring him in later, so it's not like that big of a deal. But they have introduced a Venom symbiote host already, though. Although I don't I don't know how this would work at all. So, for anyone that doesn't know, Flash Thompson, the bully to Spider-Man, basically in this series of Marvel movies, it does eventually become a Venom symbiote host as Agent Venom. But the thing is, the comic book version of Flash Thompson was in the army. He wasn't like a student. Like he went to school with Peter, and he was a bully to Peter. But eventually, he had like changed a new leaf and like had decided to go to the army and all this other stuff.
While this Flash Thomas is at MIT.
Well, I said, they're graduating now though.
But he's at MIT though.
And that's all I'm saying. And also the way this Flash acts is very different from the other Flash. So I don't see this guy going to the military is the only thing. I was like, I don't know if they're gonna go that route. So I'm wondering they might create a new symbiote host altogether. I doubt it, but that's also a possibility too.
Yeah, I just didn't see them. Like, what would be the point of bringing in, teasing us that, we're going to get Venom versus Spider-Man now, and it's not even going to be the original actor. So they're going to have to bring in a new actor now. And I just don't think that they'll bring in their own version of Eddie Brock into this universe. I just don't think they'll.
I guess my other thing is,
not wrong, I don't think.
I'm with you, Ace. What was the point? Because the whole thing was that Sony wanted to use Tom Holland's Spider-Man in their Spider-Verse. And when we watched Venom, we were all on the same boat that this was going to be the integration point. And this end credit scene from Spider-Man No Way Home completely, eliminates that possibility.
Yeah, like I said in the first part, this is the only nitpick I have is like Doctor Strange explained the reason that the villains and all the people were there is because they knew who Peter Parker was. That version of Eddie has no Peter Parker in his world. So how was he there in the first place? And then two, if his only purpose there was to make sure the Venom symbiote got there, they could have just went the Venom symbiote story route. I don't know why. Like I said, this is a very small nitpick because I didn't hate the after credit scene. It was very funny.
Yeah.
But
I guess at that point when they had already brought him in, like when we saw the end credit scenes of Venom 2, they didn't think about it like that. Because, he was already there at that point. It was just like, oh, he's in the MCU now.
Or
but then
maybe even going higher in, like, production level. What if that just wasn't... What if the end credit scene for Venom 2 wasn't... The MCU wasn't involved? Because Sony does own Spider-Man, they just decided that this is going to be the end credit scene. And because they did it, Marvel, maybe something else with the third movie, they was like, okay, let's...
The only reason I would disagree with that is because the end credit scene from this one plays directly off of the last end credit scene from Venom 2. So Marvel had to have some type of input in it.
I would only not even for the end credit scene.
But I'm saying that because Venom 2 was solely Sony, that they threw that end credit scene, and because they threw that end credit scene, the MCU had to do something about it in this one.
I don't think that could not be a possibility.
That's what I'm saying.
They still fully own the rights.
Right, and because they set it up that way, they probably knew that people were going to have issues with the scene. Like how McMillian has an issue with the scene for obvious reasons. But because Sony had already set it up, they had to do something.
It's a strong possibility. I didn't even think
strong possibility.
That it could have just been a production side of things.
That's my theory though. Venom, Miles Morales will be introduced through the story. Venom.
If that is the case, I'm very interested to see how that.
I want to see how that's gonna play out.
When I'm thinking about it now, when they finally do introduce Miles Morales to the big screen, I think they'll want to do it a different way, considering how we already got into the Spider-Verse now. So it's not like we haven't seen Miles Morales on screen yet. We just haven't seen live action Miles Morales yet. So from that thinking that way, I would think they would want to do it kind of differently,
or they could do it like the game,
similar routes to how they did the Spider Introverse, or they could do it similar like how the game
where they both exist.
Yeah.
So I could see that happening too. But if they do it, I do like your idea of that Venom still attaches to Peter Parker first. He detaches and then goes after Miles. So I could rock with that.
Because if also not, I'm glad you brought that up because like maybe they're both in the same universe. Like, what if we know Peter's gonna be helping out at probably the shelter a little bit more now because Aunt May is gone? What if Miles also happens to be working at the shelter or something for whatever reason?
I mean, that's how it happened. That's how it happened in the game.
Yeah. That's what I'm just
No, I mean you got. I mean, like I said, I don't dislike your theory. It's just it would be. I'm trying to figure out how they would make all that work with him eventually becoming the second Spider-Man. If the way they introduce him is
I feel you. Like that, they're gonna have to do something, and it might not never happen. It's just.
I think it's gonna happen because Miles is a popular character. I think they'd be hard pressed not to do it, especially after Tom.
No, I'm talking about the whole Miles and Venom thing.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was. No, I agree with you. Miles eventually will come to the big screen in live action, 100%. I think that's actually the next Spider-Man we're gonna get is Miles Morales after Tom Holland is done.
Yeah,
it's just that how are they gonna integrate him?
I mean, they have Tom because Tom Holland is set for
another
3 more.
I know he's set for another 3 movies, but I'm saying, but after that, once he passes on the mantle, I think our next Spider-Man is going to be Miles Morales.
I think we probably have the next. I think if they don't do it, the next film, definitely the second one is where they'll introduce him fully. He might get teased in the next Spider-Man, like the first movie of the next Spider-Man trilogy, but the second one he will actually have like a role, and then the third one we'll probably see him in the suit,
take up the mantle. I agree with that. I think Spider-Man 4 they have to show us the aftermath of like how's Peter been dealing with all of this, and then if they tease Miles, like you know how they did it in the game where Peter was still dealing with the overarching problem, but he had times where he interacted with Miles, and then at the end of the game, that's when he found out that Miles also has has been bit by the radioactive spider, and he has the powers and stuff. So I could roll with that.
It's gonna be interesting to see how Miles, well, mainly how Venom, starts getting attracted to Miles as a character. Because from what we've seen in Into the Spider-Verse, we have a very childlike Miles of him being playful, and normally from my point of view, Venom characters normally have like some kind of gloom to them. Even with Toby, when Venom got attached to Toby, Toby was going through a rough time. Venom was attracted to that and was like, we're gonna feed on that, kind of thing until Toby finally overcame it. Venom
if they do it like the game, Miles' dad did die in the Spider-Man game. So if they wanted to play on that,
they can.
And his dad being the reason that Venom gets attracted to him.
There's options out here now. Yeah. That's all I'm saying.
Another option could be, because they already showed him struggling, Venom could get on Aaron Davis.
Who?
His uncle.
His uncle.
Yep.
And
you think his uncle's gonna be working for Kingpin by that point?
I mean, he does. He usually starts up his Steven stuff around, surrounded by Kingpin and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It could be potentially that the Venom symbiote gets stuck to him, and that's how Toby gets connected. That's how not Toby. Tom Holland Spider-Man gets connected with the future Miles, and then they have to work together to try and stop his uncle or something like that. I mean, there's routes.
Possibility.
There's routes.
There's routes. Yeah. That's all I'm saying. There's routes.
Okay. The next end credit scene I want to get into is the Multiverse of Madness trailer. I'm gonna just call this shit a trailer because this was
a trailer.
That was a trailer.
And that's basically what it was.
This was way too long to be an end credit scene.
That's basically what it was.
I felt like we was about to go into another movie.
So it starts off with basically Doctor Strange has fucked up, and some of the highlights that I want to take from the trailer is that they tease the evil Doctor Strange Supreme, and if you've seen the What If series, I was like, it's your boy.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh yes, let's go. And if you've seen What If, we remember how that last interaction went when they tried to bring in another Doctor Strange, because Strange Supreme tapped that ass. So I'm
They didn't end well.
I'm interested to see how this interaction is going to go in Multiverse of Madness. Second thing is that at the end of Doctor Strange 1, it foreshadowed that Mordo was going to be the next villain. Is he going to be the villain in Multiverse of Madness? Or is he just going to be somebody that his cards are against Doctor Strange in this whole scenario? Is it going to be a bit more complicated than you are my enemy?
I mean, the way the trailer played it, and also there's been the whole theories because Wanda has the black book or whatever I forget what it's called.
Book of the Damned or something like that.
Book of the Damned. The way they played the trailer even itself was like, it almost seemed like Doctor Strange didn't know who you could trust. That would seem like a big theme of this trailer was, I don't know, like who can I trust in this madness?
Even when he goes to Wanda because at this point she's the only other high mystic character that they have. But when he asks Wanda about the multiverse, she kind of gives him that look like,
she already
how you know about this. So I want to know what Wanda knows about the multiverse and what she has done with it. Because I only say this because of this scene. So at the end of WandaVision, when Wanda ends up in her little cabin, there is nothing out there but that cabin. But in this trailer, she got trees and shit, and she's picking flowers or harvesting or doing whatever. And I was like, okay, you've been out here for a while. What have you been doing? And that look that she gives him when he asks her, what do you know about the multiverse? It's like, dog, I thought I was the only one that knew about the multiverse. And it kind of gives you that thing because my theory is that she's done something. And this is why. When Doctor Strange first shows up, she immediately starts admitting to the things that she did in Westview. Like, she assumed that Doctor Strange was there to reprimand her for the stuff that she did in Westview. And he was like, I'm not here to talk about that. And so she was like, okay, what are you here to talk about for? And when he mentions the multiverse, she gives him that look. And it was like, ooh, fuck. So you know about that too. And coming off, I can't remember who said this. I want to say it's McMillian, or it might have been somebody else that I was talking to, that at the end of WandaVision, when she started hearing her kids, the theory is that her kids are in another universe. So really, what has she been doing since that moment up to now?
Yeah, we talked about it here.
Is she out here child napping from different multiverses?
She probably
that's what under them trees. That's what she got under them trees. She played too much.
I'm done.
It could be possible that she could be trying to get another vision as well.
The only reason I'm hesitant to go for that is there is a version of Vision in the Marvel Cinematic Universe somewhere.
True.
He just went somewhere.
He's just out there.
Yeah.
He's just out there.
We don't know where he went. But I don't think that she's going for Vision. I think the fact that her children are still out there, it would be more appealing for her to break apart the universe.
Well, yeah, because and also for me, it's the whole Westview thing served as like her therapy or her goodbye, the laying to rest to Vision.
Right.
Yes,
but her children, she never fully got a chance. Like, while she knew they probably weren't real, that they were still her kids, and it's not like she got a chance to really grieve them.
Yeah.
So,
True.
And it's the fact that she's hearing them. She probably didn't even grieve at all. The fact that she has some knowledge that her children still exist somewhere. Because like you said, with Vision, she already tried. She resurrected him. She played out that scenario, and she had to let that go. But her kids, this is like her second, I can fix this type thing.
Mm-hmm.
This is her second win.
Yeah. And as we know, that Book of the Damn thing, people have been talking about it enough to where we know it has some like corrupting properties. And then two, Wanda, at this point, hopefully within the Multiverse of Madness, she probably played around more with her powers and gotten stronger. So she probably thinks that she can do more than what she might be capable of actually doing due to like all her practices and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So she could be trying to this might be presenting her the perfect opportunity to basically go kidnap children from a different multiverse.
Man,
Yeah, pretty much.
I can see it happening to where she has figured out the multiverse stuff, and she thinks that Doctor Strange is there to reprimand her for that, but she's actually, been cautious with it, and it's really you that in told the multiverse. It's really you that broke it.
She gonna try to flip the script and be like, "Oh, so you did it." Mm.
So I'm interested to see what all she knows about it.
Yeah,
because in Spider-Man No Way Home, Doctor Strange made it apparent that they knew little to none about the multiverse, and if Wanda is the one that cracked it, well, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much, yeah. At this point,
I got questions.
Right. And I would also like to know what led him to go ask her.
So here's. Oh well, not to cut you off, but here's an interesting thing, and it's not necessarily a theory, but for those who have seen the film and all of us, there was a girl that was seen in the Sanctum Sanctorum with a star on her back and like a jean jacket. Mm-hmm. For those of you that don't know, there's a character in the comics named America Chavez. Her superhero name is Miss America. She's a part of the Young Avengers, which they've already seemed to have been starting through like the Captain America and the Winter Soldier thing when they introduced Patriot. Mm-hmm. She actually heard the whole thing with them trying to understand the multiverse might be coming from her because in the comics I read yesterday when I was looking stuff up just to see who this character was because I didn't know much about her due to like the Marvel comics I read don't really associate with her, but apparently she was born in a different universe, mm-hmm. and her universe got destroyed due to some events that happened in the comic book, and she appeared in the current universe, the regular 616 universe for the comics. So I'm wondering if they might do like a little switcheroo in terms of like.
Well, to touch on that. You remember the scene in the trailer? Not to interrupt you. I just want to tie in what you just said to something in the trailer. You remember when Doctor Strange showed up into that New York that was like completely fucked?
Yeah.
What if that was her universe?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, it could possibly, and I feel like she might be one of the keys to understanding the different universes and stuff like considering she comes from a different universe altogether.
Right.
And then we already know from the events of Loki that there's going to be another quote unquote multiverse of war because of old boy.
Okay,
yeah.
So he could have been the reason why her universe was destroyed as well because of that whole situation.
I just need to know at this point. I just need to know when all of the all this stuff has happened.
I still think the major key and the major plot is the Loki stuff because they was literally meddling with the timeline. So if it really started at somewhere, it had to start there.
Yeah, me and Foop off screen were talking about it yesterday. It was like if the TVA was around by this movie, none of this shit would have popped up.
Hello. So like as soon as them villains popped up, they would have snatched them up. No Spider-Man movie for y'all. But I totally agree. That was one of my my theories is that when Doctor Strange was doing his thing, that was the same time that Loki was happening.
You just made another connection. Like you just said, if the TVA was still around, they would have been popping up to come stop these guys.
Hello.
But they're not around anymore, and what happens? They could just walk around freely and do
right.
Boy, look at you, boy.
That's what I'm saying. And that ties into because you remember last episode I was saying, what if Loki happened before? And that's why that's why all this stuff was able to happen. Because it's a route.
Correct.
It's a route.
Correct. And that complete it just because of that one statement he just made, it completely makes sense now. Loki happens before all of this. Like, it has to. Because now with like he just said, with the little we know from Loki, TVA would have showed up and stopped all that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's their whole job.
That's like you said. That's their whole job is stopping people crossing over in different multiverses, making
different
branches and stuff.
Yeah, yep.
Like
that was the whole thing about Loki. Why didn't they show up in this? Because they don't exist anymore.
They gone bye bye. Or maybe this is my other thing, because the TVA pretty much was already gone before Sylvie killed Kang the Conqueror. Because you remember she went to war with TVA or whatever, with the heads.
She was slowly breaking
What
them
if
down,
that happened before Spider-Man, and then when they killed Kang the Conqueror, that's when was at the end of Spider-Man, right?
I mean, there's a lot. Like you said, honestly, I just need a comprehensive timeline.
I need when. So I need when this all this stuff happens.
The only thing,
of course, eventually it's gonna all come full circle, and we're gonna get that. It started right here.
Yeah, eventually. But I'm just saying, like, for instance, I know the only thing I know for sure is that the next episode of Hawkeye is definitely taking place at the end of the Spider-Man movie, because it was 100%. Christmas Day at the end of the Spider-Man movie, and it was Christmas Day in the last episode for Hawkeye. Yeah. And I feel like there's going to be some type of tease, especially since this is the last Marvel thing happening.
I mean, and we talked about that as well, that the ramifications of Hawkeye, we have to find out why they're not talking about that through the Spider-Man No Way Home movie.
And this is why.
And this is
he don't know who he
is. He doesn't know who he is. Like, it makes sense.
My other theory with that is that why isn't Doctor Strange there? And my theory is that Multiverse of Madness picks up immediately after No Way Home, and he's out here dealing with this multiverse stuff.
Yeah.
And that's why he's not involved. And to put it, flat out there, I don't think he would get involved in this Hawkeye situation, but
not at all.
But the fact that they don't even mention that he's here, or they don't even or they don't even walk past the Sanctum Sanctorum, or even give some hint that Doctor Strange is around, is that he could be dealing with this multiverse stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I agree, but I mean, yeah, all the dots are starting to line up.
Yeah,
it's lining up, but I feel like we're still making assumptions, and I just have to know for sure.
I mean, yeah, we're making assumptions, but I mean, a lot of the stuff we're
making sense.
We're making sense, and we've been right about a few of this stuff so far. So it's just we just got to keep on going along with the threads.
Yeah.
You're pulling the strings.
I think they're gonna explain it in Multiverse of Madness, and I think they have to explain it.
Yeah, they have to,
because the movies that come, if they don't explain it, they're the movies in the Disney Plus series that are supposed to happen after this point. I'm not sure how they would make sense of all this if they don't explain it in Doctor Strange.
Is there a movie that's supposed to come out before Doctor Strange?
No.
We get nothing.
So Doctor Strange is the next MCU.
Yeah, we get Diddly Squad till May.
That's what I said. Like there might be something bigger in this last Hawkeye episode as well, because this is the last thing we're getting from Marvel, period, for this year.
Yeah.
And for a while, because Doctor Strange will come out until May. You said right? Yeah, that's a long time to wait.
That's like 4 months.
Yeah.
That ain't 4 months. That's 5.
January.
5. Yeah.
Well, close.
I'm just saying, I'm upset that they pushed everything back, and we not getting Diddly Squat till May. Because I was ready for their March release. I was like, okay, I can sit out till March.
Yeah.
May.
Hopefully, and in light of the whole them replacing old girl and Black Panther, hopefully they don't get pushed back too much either.
Yup. Oh.
She fumbling the Disney bag.
She fumbled the bag on that one.
But how are you fumbling the Disney bag?
But that's what I'm saying though, because Black Panther is supposed to be the next movie. After Multiverse of Madness, and y'all can't explain this multiverse stuff in Black Panther. Like, that is like two completely avenues.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, y'all gonna have to wrap this stuff. You're gonna have to explain this stuff right here, right now.
Yeah. I mean, if we don't get any answers about like why the hell this is happening in the Multiverse of Madness, I'll be shocked. Like, if there was any other movie to do it, you would assume it would definitely be this one. Yeah.
I mean, the next time we might see it is Quantumanium, but that's because
but that's the end of phase. That's the end of phase 4 though.
Yeah.
I guess my other thing is that I would like to know what reasoning they had to not release season 2 of Loki for the movie.
maybe for whatever's going to happen in Multiverse of Madness, maybe they might be.
I think are you asking why they
lining
aren't
this stuff up
releasing
for a
it
reason.
before Multiverse of Madness?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Because
that'd be interesting.
Because they end off where the multiverse has split, and with Spider-Man: No Way Home ending like it is, that may have been a good
starting point for Loki season 2. You know,
a good starting point and a good way to explain how all of these timelines have been fitting. So this goes into my hesitancy for Multiverse of Madness. They have a lot of stuff to explain, plus all the other plot points that they're going to put into this movie. And maybe if they were to release Loki season 2, we could sit down and actually see how all these pieces are fitting in.
You are a detective.
Because at one point or another, they're going to have to mention the events of Loki inside the MCU. At one point or another, they're going to have to talk about it.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's going to be
no way around.
They're going to have to do it in Multiverse of Madness because this is my thing. Doctor Strange thinks it's him, but yes, you have fault in this. But Lady Loki also did this. Wanda also did this. So it's like you have to explain how all of these pieces play together. Did certain pieces happen at the same time? Or because Lady Loki did this you were able to do this. Or Wanda was able, because Wanda was able to do this happened.
Mm-hmm.
So I get the movie, but my hesitancy is how they're going to explain all of that.
Mm-hmm. Correct. I mean,
that's gonna be a lot of talking.
Because something this big, it has to be like domino effects. Like somebody, the domino effect could just be Wanda doing her Westview thing that kicked, and that all the dominoes started falling off, and then the final domino was Doctor Strange and the Spider-Man shit.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the last straw.
that was
the last straw. Like, it was holding itself together. Okay, Wanda, whatever. Lady Loki, okay, I'm struggling to keep this together. And then Spider-Man and Doctor Strange come in, they're just like, okay, whatever. Y'all got it. Since nobody cares about the multiverse, I'm going to let it go. But I was just saying, if they, maybe a series, and this can be something we decide after we watch Doctor Strange, that how well they explain it. Could this have been better explained in a series, or did they do a good job putting all the pieces together in this movie?
Yeah.
Only time will tell.
Only time
will tell. I'm definitely excited for it.
It's made. Oh my.
Yeah.
That's the only thing
time.
That's the only thing that's killing me. So we got a
little wait.
We gonna make so many theories that it's canon. We gonna get in the movie and be like, we seen all this. We knew the movie. At this point,
we talked about this already.
We saw this. You were right. I was right. He was right. Ralph was right.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, I mean, out of the remaining lineup, I think the Doctor Strange movie is my most anticipated movie out of the rest of the Phase 4 lineup.
Yeah.
Because of course I'm waiting on Thor as well, because they did such a good job with Thor 3, and this will be the fourth movie in like a movie line for the MCU, so it's definitely gonna be interesting to see how they do that as well. And then of course Black Panther.
Yeah.
Black Panther too, but it's a lot of stuff going on with that movie though, so they might have to just rethink that one.
Ain't no telling what's
gonna happen in this movie. We just have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the last thing is Ralph's hot take.
Wait! Before we go to that, wait.
I forgot that.
I think I may have made a connection. Y'all might more likely say I'm wrong, but in Hawkeye, when they did the auction, did they get the auction stuff when they did the siege in Spider-Man of the Stark place?
Are you asking if they got?
Are you talking about for the missing technology?
Yeah.
Well, the thing
did they get that from?
Well, the stuff in Spider-Man got blown up when the plane crashed, so I don't think so.
Yeah, that was because that's how he got that machine where he made his suit, and he made the suit on the plane. in the last movie.
Okay.
That was the missing tech that they were interrogating Happy about.
Okay.
Yeah, the stuff in Hawkeye, I think, is coming from a different Avengers facility entirely.
I think that's the one they blew to smithereens.
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
The one
got it.
Thanos completely destroyed.
I mean, that's the only way I can slice it. Because you mean to tell me y'all just randomly walked off in an Avengers compound and took all this stuff? It only makes sense that it got blown up and y'all were looking through the rubble. Because look at the stuff that they found. A watch, okay, a suit, the sword that collapses in itself. So to me, it makes sense that they found it in the wreckage.
Because I mean, you already know that there would have been some security measures set up. So
right, like you just can't walk off in there. We seen that from Wanda. The only way you can walk off in there is if you Wanda, and nobody gonna stop Wanda.
I just want to bring that up before we move on.
So, hot take. In part 1, Ralph said he felt like this movie was better than Endgame. And I might be with Ralph on this one.
I'm gonna say this. It's definitely in the top 3, 100% of MCU movies. No Way Home is definitely in the top 3. I can't put it above Infinity War because Infinity War is.
But I think I think Infinity War is better than Endgame. So it's.
I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that, and that's solely because Endgame had a lot of slow moments in it. It wasn't like, I'll say this: like the climax of Endgame beats a lot of it's nothing better than the climax of Endgame in my opinion. But as a whole, though, as a collective, Infinity War is definitely better than Endgame. Yes. 100%. I would agree with you on that. Yeah. But now as far as what we talk about, No Way Home better than Endgame, I don't know about that one just yet. I feel where you're coming from 100%, and I understand why you would put it above Endgame. Like, I'm not mad at you at all for that. Like, I'm here. I understand why. I just went and watched the movie. Like, I understand why. I just don't know yet. Like, maybe after I watch it again for a second time and just like contemplate on it, I might be able to bump it up to that second slot. But
as of right now,
not right now. I think I need to give it another watch first.
Okay. I fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look, I do agree.
It hit hard. It hit hard. I'm going off my experience with Endgame versus my first experience with this movie. Endgame was good, but Endgame, for me, Spider-Man No Way Home had a lot of edge of your seat moments.
No, 100%. 100%.
It was moments where I thought Spider-Man was gonna die.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. If you put this movie above Endgame, I'm not mad at you at all. Like, I completely understand. Like I said, I just went and watched the movie. I'm with you. I understand where you're coming from. It's just for me, from my perspective, I just don't know if I can put it above Endgame just yet.
And I think that makes a lot of sense. Based on what you said, you really like about movies is the climax. And like you said, I personally agree. Endgame probably has the best climax of any Marvel movie, but that's because every Marvel movie was leading up to that climax.
Right.
That's a climax of not only one film. That is a climax of like how many movies? 20?
This is everybody's beef. This is everybody's beef.
Yeah.
But so yeah, like I said, I completely understand where you come from. Like I said, once I watch it again, like give it a second watch, I can come back and sit down again and rethink it. Can I put this above Endgame now? Like, now that I done watched it again for a second time, maybe so. Like I said, I just got to give it a second watch first. Just for me.
Understandable.
I'm gonna stand by my statement.
So
I think,
like I said, I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you at all.
I would only say I love Endgame. I would only say that No Way Home was better is because it's like you said, or this was what McMillian said. There were so many movies leading up to Endgame, and Spider-Man No Way Home was like, okay, we have this solo superhero film. All of these pieces that the only movies that we've seen with so many pieces coming together was Infinity War and Endgame. There was no previous setup, no hints or end credit scenes that led us up to this moment, and for them
besides
to
the Venom one, which didn't even matter.
Right, besides
I
there be
mean-
carnage. But for them to come in here and execute all of these pieces and well played them together, and the fact that they played it well together to lead into Multiverse of Madness, I have to give it to them because of execution. Because there was nothing that could prepare you for this movie. Endgame was, we have all these pieces. We know who the Guardians of the Galaxy are. We know their beef with Thanos. We know about the Avengers. We know about Doctor Strange. We know about Black Panther. We know about everybody's stake in this movie, which gave it the hype, which gave it the gravity of the movie. But Spider-Man, this Spider-Man had not bumped heads with any of these villains in this movie. We didn't know what the fuck was gonna go down.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to give them that on execution.
And not only that, but they didn't. For me, what made it even better, we knew these villains were coming from older franchises of Spider-Man that we enjoyed as kids. Like Tobey Maguire is still, to me, while Tom is, I'll admit, a better Spider-Man. Tobey Maguire is probably still my favorite. Mm-hmm. They were like, hey Jay, spend 50 minutes with Tobey Maguire. Like they when he came in, they were like, here he is, here's his stake in the story, let's move on. Like I love that because they didn't try and just pull on my nostalgia of like 10-year-old Jay. They were like, you grew up with it, you know these characters, and we trust you to know what their importance is. We're going to keep moving with the story that we're telling. And I thought that was more impactful than just being like, here's a character you love for like 50 more time than he needed to be there, basically.
Right.
No, I feel you. Like I said, if anybody that makes a statement, I completely understand why you'll make the statement, and I'm not mad at all, because Spider-Man, 10 out of 10. No argument about that at all. Not at all.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to see it again, because I saw Endgame like 3 times.
100%.
And I'm definitely going to see this
100%.
about 3 times. This was lovely. I don't think anything could prepare you for what happens in this movie. Like, I was not prepared for William Dafoe to beat Tom Holland's ass like that. I wasn't.
I was not prepared for Doctor Strange versus Spider-Man.
I wasn't prepared for that. It's nothing. Yeah. Nothing can prepare you for the stuff that happens in this movie.
I hear you.
Say about it.
I loved it.
This was nice. I'm glad that this movie turned out great, because now I can end 2021 saying that I've seen Spider-Man.
And you did get spoiled at that.
Oh, yes. So, yes, that I didn't get spoiled, because at this point, it's anyone's game. If you haven't seen it by now, you might as well log off.
No, like the social media is
log off. They going. They going.
Yeah.
And I'm about to retweet all of it. I'm retweeting. I gave y'all a day. I gave
on her personal account. On her personal account, not on the Blerd.
Right. I gave y'all a day, so now we finna get into it. But
you gave him a day. No, I just want to say, though this movie was a 10 out of 10, we not finna just sit here and act like He Who Should Not Be Named movies were just.
We not saying that. We not saying.
That.
See,
No.
Don't, because he did this morning. I'm innocently scrolling on Twitter, and Ace is like, so everybody like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man now, and I was like, don't come on here with that. It is 9:30 in the morning, Alex.
You trying to get folks violent real early?
They the one who put that propaganda on my TL.
But listen, my thing is that they integrated him well, and I feel like
no, they did.
My other thing is that I think they gave him closure on in this movie as well, because he is the only Spider-Man that didn't get a trilogy. He is the Spider-Man that we all like to shit on. So they did a really good job of letting him redeem himself, and they did a really good job of integrating him into the story.
I don't even hate those films, but I will say that like 2, it wasn't left a bad taste in my mouth, especially since it ended with such a Like there was no, you got nothing of like a resolution from him. Like all his the love of his life just died, and they kind of just move on. He's gonna fight Rhino now. I'm like, what the like? The man ain't grieving. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
you know, like so. I understand why people are talking about him now. Because it's like he finally got what his character arc finally got what it needed, even if it wasn't the prettiest character arc. It still needed an ending. Like, it didn't.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying. All I'm saying is, I just hop on Twitter the next day. Everybody, I don't even know why people was talking about bad about this movie. This movie was great. In my opinion, this is the best Spider-Man movie we got. Also, now y'all just lying. Y'all just on my TL line now. Y'all saying the Spider-Man 2 is the best Spider-Man film now all of a sudden after just seeing No Way Home?
Wait, get off my timeline. Wait, Amazing Spider-Man 2,
Get off my timeline.
It's Amazing Spider-Man
2. Yeah, it's Amazing
Spider-Man. Yeah, because I was about to say regular Spider-Man 2 is still up there.
Sorry. Let me correct myself. Amazing Spider-Man 2. Everybody was on time. Amazing Spider-Man 2 is the best Spider-Man movie out there. I don't know why people were talking so down on this movie.
Personally, I just feel like maybe they felt bad for him. Because I did feel bad for him in the movie. But that... Hey, let me finish. I did feel bad for him, but that's not enough for me to get on the Twitters and say that he had the best Spider-Man movie. That's not enough. But I do feel the sympathy that they had. The other thing that I like with going back to McMillian's point of how they ended the Amazing Spider-Man 2, like they didn't let him grieve. He got to grieve in this movie, like with him explaining. When he was sitting down talking to Tom Holland Spider-Man and telling him about the route that he went down, we're not seeing his aftermath in a movie, but we're hearing about it. Like, this is what happened after. This is the route that I went down.
All I'm saying is we can't go from No Way Home, which is arguably now the best Spider-Man movie / top 3 Marvel movies to
live action.
Now all of a sudden, Amazing Spider-Man 2 is the best Spider-Man movie. Get off my timeline now. Y'all just literally on my timeline line. Block them. Just block them.
I'm like, it's 9:30 a.m. Like, I ain't even wiped the crust off my eyes. And Alex chooses violence. He even put the hashtags to make sure folks saw it. I'm like, not right now, Alex. It is 9:30 a.m.
They should have brought that propaganda on my TL at 9:30 a.m.
And he used the hashtags. Ace don't never use hashtags, but he used it on this one.
I think I would have left it alone if I had not seen No Way Home just the night before. But I just came off of No Way Home, and then y'all put this on my TL.
He said he gonna make sure y'all see this in the feed.
Even if y'all don't respond, y'all gonna see it. Y'all gonna see it, and you're gonna scroll by it, and you're gonna think about it.
I was like, let's not do this right now. Let's not do this right now. So Andrew Garfield, and I love the way that they did Electro. I think Jamie Foxx got to redeem himself in this movie as well.
Yeah, most definitely. Because the way they did his character, Dirty in 2, was also pretty bad.
Yeah, they did him dirty. They did him dirty. They redeemed him. And the fact that my boy got an arc reactor. Let's go.
Not only that, but if you're a fan of the comic books or the old TVs, the anime series, the lightning that he was shooting was in the form of his the character's costume. Nice. Like, even though he wasn't wearing a villain costume, he had like references to it. I thought that was great. The way they etched it in.
So I think it was closure and redemption as far as the Amazing Spider-Man that they did in this movie, and I think they did it really well.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I think the fact that now you're waking up and seeing people like, well, maybe the Amazing Spider-Man wasn't that bad. It's just how good they sold you on this shit.
And also I feel like it's we talked a little about it with the Witcher series. Being able to look at something in a different perspective after having more information can change your opinion on the whole thing. I'm not trying to defend Amazing Spider-Man 2 is the best one. It's not by no means, but I will say, having this closure for these characters does add, I feel like, a little bit of a better light to that movie.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily fix it, but it does add, I think, a greater context to it.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, this movie was very well written from start to finish.
It was.
It was very well written, even with all these different moving parts and stuff like that. You can tell that they sat down, they thought about this, they planned this out, and they went and executed. Like, you can see it.
Yeah.
One for one in that movie.
Now I want to know what scenes that Tom Holland suggested to be changed. Do you remember something came out where he went and pitched a different scene for the movie and they went with it. So now after seeing the movie, I would like to know which scenes he was like, we need to change this.
It could have been some of the Spider-Man interaction scenes, maybe, but that's definitely a good question. What did he want to change about?
What would take the cake for me if he changes if it was his idea for Green Goblin to beat his ass like that. Because it's not like they haven't done it before, because in The Dark Knight, Heath Ledger told Christian Bale to like, yo, beat my ass. Like that scene that they had in jail, that was like fist to face, like beat my ass, like real talk.
I mean, that would be interesting if that was
if that was the scene. Like he goes to William Dafoe and he was like, yo, I want you to fuck me up right now.
Yeah, but like that'd be interesting only because like I don't know if you guys see it, but there's pictures of Tom Holland from the premiere of this movie. He had to walk out a couple of times to cry. This is how powerful the movie hit him himself. So I'm wondering like what those scenes might have been, because obviously, regardless of anything, they definitely probably went with it, because the movie looks like it was just as impactful for him as it was for everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, hopefully we get the answers to those questions one day, because I didn't even know that was a thing.
Or maybe his reaction to Aunt May's death, like the fact that he had to leave her, it might have went a different route.
Yeah.
So
I was not expecting that Aunt May scene.
I wasn't, but I should have seen it coming, because once
I saw the glider coming through, I was hit.
They say it, they die, and it's like, okay, she said it. And if that didn't hit for you, like Ace said, when you see that damn glider coming full speed and hit her, I was like, yes, bro.
Yeah,
I think I realized it was over when Green Goblin started giving a speech, and I was just like, oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's not going.
Yeah, this is bad. This is bad. What Ace be saying? This is not a drill.
It's not a drill.
This is not.
Well, Hawkeye said on the last episode, this got very real very quickly.
Someone has hired a Green Goblin. This has gotten very real.
Oh man. Yeah, because it definitely, that whole scene definitely went from 0 to 100 like
real fast. Real fast. And it was like with all of them being in close proximity, and it's just like, yo, this is bad.
You know what? One thing I do want to touch upon that we forgot to mention in the part 1 though, the Doc Ock redemption that we got in this movie.
Yeah.
That was really well done. The fact that Peter was actually able to save Dr. Octavius, and then he comes back and repay that kindness by saving them.
Yeah.
Like that was done well.
And he gets to talk to Toby at the end. I did like that. That too.
Yeah, I felt like that was really well done, because if you're a big fan of Spider-Man 2, you really know that Doc Ock was never like at least this one was never really a villain. He just had some terrible luck in the string of his experiments.
And they explained that in the movie as well, saying that Tom said that his tentacles were actually controlling him as well.
Yeah.
So he never was really in control. It was just his tentacles telling him, you know, let's do this or do this right now, kind of thing. So
yeah. So
I love the movie.
And it was 10 out of 10, yo. But if there isn't anything else, and I'm gonna pause to make sure that nobody really has anything else.
Think you good on this one?
I'm gonna pull a Kanye.
Well, hold on.
Quick.
Ace look like you thinking. You good?
No, I'm thinking just to make sure because I touched upon the Doc Ock. I don't think there's anything else, and then I got my theory out, so I'm good.
All right. But if there isn't anything else, once again, thank you guys for doing part 1, doing part 2. Thanks for those watching, listening. Make sure you check us out on social media. We are the Blerd Mob Pod on Instagram. That's at TheBlerdMobPod. We're at the Blerd Mob on Twitter, and you can find us on Facebook and YouTube at the Blerd Mob Podcast. And this is the Mob checking out. Peace.
Hands up if you love him where you at. Stand 10 toes down, shawty, ain't no looking mad. You can let them haters hate when they answer where I'm smiling. I just tell them life's great.